Hey everyone, it's me, Arthur Kade, welcoming one of the funniest men in America, Kamau Bell, to Behind the Velvet Rope. He's got an exciting couple weeks ahead. CNN's United Shades of America premieres April 24th at 10 p.m. He's also got a Showtime special, Semi-Prominent Negro. Make sure to check both out. Great stuff. Hey everyone, it's me, Arthur Kade. So Kamau, I was just telling you, I used to love your FX show, man. So when I heard you were getting a CNN show and then they send me the clips ahead of time, I'm like, what the heck is this dude going to come up with? And then the very first clip, you're visiting the KKK. I'm like, I'm sold right there. So congrats, man. Busy month for you. You've got the CNN show. You've got a special on Showtime, your very first big special. Pretty cool stuff, right?
Yeah, it's all happening at one time. It's the showbiz referendum on Kamau Bell. So we'll see if showbiz votes on me this month.
This CNN show, it looks awesome. United Shades of America, you pretty much go explore mini worlds, mini societies, from nursing homes to the KKK. How'd you come up with this and what can people expect?
The idea is to go places where I either don't feel comfortable or places I absolutely shouldn't go. Nursing homes, I don't feel that comfortable. The KKK, I shouldn't go. So that's how we came up with it. And the idea is just to push myself. You know, it's a big country, United States of America, but, you know, if you've traveled around a lot, you know, it's probably 50 different countries or more. So the idea is to sort of cross that aisle and have awkward conversations and see if we can all laugh, learn, and hug.
The best part of the KKK was they were still trying to plug the KKK during it. They're like, check out our website. I'm
Yes.
like, at least the KKK's in the 21st century and still trying to market themselves.
Yeah.
What were some of the fun moments like that as you were going into the different terrains that you came across? Because I thought that was pretty hilarious.
I mean, the KKK, I think, was unintentionally hilarious. A guy told me that he doesn't believe in race mixing. He also doesn't believe in Skittles mixing. He separates his Skittles by color before he eats them, which I think that's crazy.
When you look at these different groups that you went into, you go in obviously with preconceived notions. When you walk out, what were some of the discoveries that you made, the little nuggets?
That even if people disagree on fundamental things and even if people grew up differently and don't see eye to eye, that if they sit down and try to have a conversation, they can have a conversation. You know, so even people you think a lot of times on TV and on the news, it's just people yelling at each other because that's what they're supposed to do. But if you just sit down and have a conversation, it doesn't all have to be a Springer show all the time. It doesn't have to be Maury all the time.
You've become one of the country's, I think, best political and race commentators. Talk to me about when you look at right now the presidential election. We've got some crazy stuff going on. What are your thoughts? First, I want to start with Mr. Donald Trump. I'm dying to hear your thoughts on this.
Mr. Donald Trump.
Sir Donald Trump.
Sir Donald Trump. No, future president Donald Trump.
He actually may change it over to King Donald Trump.
Emperor Trump. This is what happens.
Emperor Trump would be the best.
Yeah, this is what happens when you let a guy, this is 8 years of letting him just sort of run ragged. I mean, it wasn't that long ago he was asking Obama for his birth certificate, and nobody told him to shut up. And he's like, oh, I can do whatever I want to do then, and now he's running for president, and he might be the president.
What do you think happens if Donald Trump becomes president?
Well, I think that's actually in the Book of Revelations, if I'm not sure. So I think that's the last step before it starts to rain fire. So I'm looking forward to it.
Hillary, thoughts? It took me a second to process what you were doing.
Okay. Yay, history. Yeah. I got 2 daughters. I guess that'll be good.
It'll work. How about
As a woman president.
Mr. Feel the Burn?
Oh, I live in Bernie Sanders country.
I know you do. That's why I saved him for last. Trust me.
I mean, I just feel like even Bernie Sanders didn't expect to get this far. If he had,
Was he surprised by it all?
totally. You know how I know this? Because if he had expected to get this far, he would have started talking to people sooner than last Wednesday. You know what I mean? Like, he didn't start talking to black people until like a couple weeks ago. He's like, I should probably meet some black people. When you're running for president and think you're going to win, you start talking to black people like 3, maybe 4 years ago.
So why do you think Hillary connects with black people, but Bernie can't?
Because Hillary and Bill have always connected with black people, sometimes intimately one of them.
That's awesome.
Bill's from Arkansas. You can't be in Arkansas and not connect with black people, even if it's to invite them to the cross burning.
So you got this comedy special on Showtime, Semi-Prominent Negro. give me some of the highlights. What can people expect? Why should they tune into Showtime to see you drop word?
Well, they should, first of all, they should only tune into Showtime for my special, and they should turn right back to CNN for my CNN TV show. It's my first comedy special. I talk a lot about my family. I have an interracial marriage and mixed race kids, so I got future babies. And I talk a lot about the politics and state of the world, and it's really an unfiltered version of me. Yeah.
What is it like, interracial marriage? Walk me through this.
Well, once you get over the different slots and tabs that you have to figure out how to do, you have to instruction books. It's a whole different system. It's like when you go to Europe and you try to plug your phone in. It's a totally different system.
Being in Berkeley, obviously, is it unique? What is it like in that part of the world?
I mean, it's the People's Republic of Berkeley.
I saw that in your bio. What did you mean by that?
That we are as far left as we can be. We're on the left coast. We think Democrats are Republicans. You know, it's as far as left as you can be. We compost our recycling and then we recycle our compost. We do it all. Obviously,
I came in with tons of current topic questions. The Harry Tubman is now going to be taking over on the $20 bill. Again, really?
I don't know. I know I'm supposed. I don't even know. Would Harry Tubman have liked that?
I think she would. Who wouldn't like to be on the 20? Listen, at the end of the day, no matter if you're Harriet Tubman or Donald Trump, there is a fame component to everybody, I feel. Like, you don't think Harry Tubman would
kind of... Harry Tubman hated this country.
You have to unpack that statement for me.
I mean, I don't know if you remember, this country wasn't that good to Harriet Tubman back in the day, so I don't know if she would feel honored by anything this country did with her face. And also, they're still leaving Andrew Jackson on the back of the 20. So there's a white man on the back of a black woman.
Play on that
yeah,
one.
Yeah, it's not a full all in. I don't know about that. And plus, I think only if maybe to black people those $20 bills were worth like $25. Then I feel better about it. If it was also tied into some sort of reparations thing, where for white people they're worth $20, but for black people they're $25.
Obviously, we're having a tremendous conversation right now coming out of the Oscars with Oscar So White, and there's a real problem with diversity in Hollywood. You're having success now. You have a special. You have a show on a major network.
Yeah, don't treat me like Obama. We got one black guy with a TV show. It's all over.
Well, there's Trevor Noah. There's
two. We've got two.
But what more needs to be done? I'm dying to know your thoughts. What more needs to be done to help with diversity in Hollywood?
Well, I think a lot of it has to be I mean, it's hard. You can't. Black people don't own studios for them, except for Tyler Perry.
His own mini studio.
His own mini studio, and he owns it in Atlanta. He's not even in Hollywood. So until we can figure out a way to get those jobs or invest our own money and own our own studios, the diversity on camera is always going to be short of what it is in the real world. So I think we have to, it's like until it's about behind the camera. Like, look behind the camera here. White guy.
Not just white guy. You got two bald white guys.
Yeah.
We do have diversity, though. We have a Hispanic young lady. Okay, so we got some diversity.
She doesn't look that pleased about it, though.
We got a little diversity.
Is she their boss?
Yes.
That took a
She's
lot.
my boss as well, to be honest.
All right.
That's pretty much the brains of the operation right there, because look at who you're sitting next to. I mean, I've got the IQ of a dolphin. Okay. So actually, the dolphin might be higher on the IQ. I probably more have the IQ of an ant. But even they work.
I'm working with you.
So when you look at your career, who are some of the comedians that have influenced you? Who are some of the people you've looked up to?
Well, I mean, Chris Rock, even before I worked with him on Totally Biased. Dave Chappelle is one of the greats of all time. The artist formerly known as Bill Cosby, Eddie Murphy.
What'd you think of Chris Rock's Oscar performance?
I think Chris is great, and I think he did exactly what he wanted to do.
That's got to be a hard position. I mean, you do political commentary all day, every day, but when you're in front of 1 billion freaking people and you've got to still do your job and you've got to be careful not to destroy your career in the process. Yeah. How do you handle something? If you were in his shoes, how do you handle it? Like
I would not show up. I don't want that job.
Were you in the protest bin?
No, I watched the Oscars, but I wouldn't do the Oscars. I wouldn't want to host the Oscars. It seems like a nightmare. Seems like a nightmare.
Wait a minute. You're telling
Kevin Hart.
Someone comes to you and says, Kamau, we want Kamau Bell to host the Oscars. You're not taking that gig?
I'd say, I don't think you got the right guy. Did you go to Kevin Hart and it accidentally butt dialed me? What happened?
But then they call your agent. They're like, no, seriously, we want Kamau on this.
First of all, it's never going to happen. Second of all, no, I wouldn't do it.
That's the most pessimistic. I'm hoping I host
honest.
the Oscars one day. I want to host the Oscars one day.
I think we're probably different. I mean, I've only known you for about 6 minutes, but I feel like we might be different people. Yeah, I don't want to host the Oscars. There's a lot of things I don't want to do. I don't want to bungee jump. I don't want to host the Oscars. I don't want to go back to a cross burning. I only go to one. So yeah.
Speaking of the KKK thing, I was dying to ask you: were you ever in fear? Like, was there?
Yes.
How do you, when you're in? What is it like in that environment? You've got to walk me through that because. You think of the KKK in the 50s and 60s, and it's a very different KKK now. I'm sure there's just as much danger, and I'm not downplaying it by any means, but it's not as prevalent an organization. As I'm saying this, all of a sudden they show up on my lawn.
Exactly.
And I'm Jewish, man. I'm in the same boat. I watch your thing. They hate me just as much as they hate you. But what were you feeling at that time? Like you're sitting there in that environment. What's going through your head?
I mean, I was afraid because we met them in dark roads and often forest clearings. It was nighttime. I was like, I don't know that 50 KKK members are going to run out here and create a thing and, string me up. So I was absolutely afraid. And I think I used humor as a way to sort of calm myself down and also to dismantle their anger. They came at me pretty tough at the beginning, and I used humor as a way to sort of lighten the mood. And people usually don't kill you if they're laughing at the things you say. How
do you approach that situation? So how do you actually infiltrate the KKK? I can't imagine email. Like,
I didn't infiltrate. I didn't go Dave Chappelle, like put on the surprise. Oh no, this didn't work out the way I wanted.
Crackhead Tyrone.
Yeah, no, I didn't do that.
So how does it all come about?
I mean, I had my white producers make phone calls because I sound like a black guy on the phone, and my white producers made phone calls, and they asked them if we're interested in being on CNN, and some said yes, and they said, what if we bring a black guy, and some said,
Do they have to prerequisite that stuff? Like,
yeah.
It's crazy.
They don't want to just say CNN's coming and then I show up. They wanted to let those guys know what they were in for. So they told them a comedian was coming, and these guys thought they were smart enough to tangle with the comedian, and time will tell what the world thinks.
How about the other? There's 8 episodes. So the other, like nursing home or the other ones, walk me through. How does that all happen? Same thing? Producers reach out?
Producers reach out. I mean, sometimes I know people and I reach out. Like we did an episode in East LA about Latinos and immigration and assimilation. I have a bunch of friends in LA and know people, so I reached out to people and got them on the show, which was great.
What do you think about that? Obviously, Donald Trump's strategy with build the wall, export everybody. What are your thoughts on how do we? Because it is a real issue. Let's be honest.
It's a real issue.
Illegal immigration is a real issue. It's not like
that's not an issue. I'm from Berkeley. That's not a real issue. That border there is not real, right? It's just made up by people. That's not a real issue.
What needs to be done, dude? You're actually one of the funnier interviews I've had in a long time. What more needs to be done?
Get over it. Get over yourselves, America. That's what needs to be done. I think that for the most part, the people who come across the border are coming for work. A lot of America's policies in Mexico have prevented jobs from being down there. We've created this situation, and then we penalize people for coming across the border. And it's not, it's for the overwhelming most part, it's not criminals. It's people looking for jobs.
Being on CNN, do they allow you to pretty much push whatever boundaries you want to? Because obviously it is a politically diverse, but also it's a commentary network. But is there ever any segue into, hey, we have to adhere to CNN's thoughts, boundaries, or whatever? Is it like, Kamau, do whatever you need to do?
I've just been told not to say too much about Don Lemon.
I just interviewed Don's the best.
No, he's great. I'm just kidding.
Don, you know what's funny is Don is like the coolest dude on the planet. I was just talking to him 2 weeks ago. He's such a nice guy.
He's been very nice to me. Everybody at CNN's been very nice to me. I really have felt welcomed onto the team by them, so I really appreciate it.
Your talk show, man. I thought it was really great. I thought it was ahead of its time.
Apparently it was way ahead of its time. So we need to cancel it and wait for time to catch up. So we'll see what happens.
Is it tough saying goodbye to a show like that? Because it really seemed like there was an enjoyment level that was high. Was it tough saying goodbye?
I mean, it was a hard show to pull off because of the stress we were under, because of we were on a new cable channel at that point. FXX is now known as a real channel, but back then it was brand new. We were helping to launch the channel.
It's Always Sunny is on it now.
Yeah, It's Always Sunny.
They pretty much stole FX's big show and rolled it over.
So but it was better. I wouldn't be sitting here in the chair right now if not for that show. So I'm happy that it happened, and yeah.
So how does a pitch to CNN go down? Walk me through. You walk in the room and...
I walk in the room and they say a production company pitched us an idea for a show called Black Man, White America, where a black comedian goes around America to white places. And I was like, what happens after the 4th episode? Like, we go back to the country club? You know, like, I was like, why am I just going to white places? I was the one who said, I want to go to lots of different places, not just white places. So that's how we ended up going to, like, San Quentin and cops in Camden, New Jersey, and East LA, and Barrow, Alaska.
Yeah, perfect segue. I was going to go into Camden. I'm from Philly, which is...
Oh, yeah, you know.
Dude.
Yeah.
You drive... When I go in the summer, I go to the shore, and you got to drive through Camden. There have been a couple times where you divert into Camden. Mm-hmm. Camden... God, I'm going to get, like, killed over these comments, but Camden's pretty bad, man. They like when you go into Camden, what was it like?
Well, I think people who live in Camden would also say it's pretty bad. They would sort of talk about whose fault that is. I think that, you know, at one point Christie fired their police force and they were under policed, and the police would just do the thing where they just drive through communities. They don't get out and talk to people. So they weren't being the police were not policing the city
because they were scared, probably.
Well, yeah, which, come on. Like,
they're the ones with the guns.
Yeah, I don't think I really buy. Yeah, I think I think a lot of times communities like Camden, this is true of also Ferguson, the police are policing them from other cities, not actually policing that city. They're just trying to make sure the residents of Camden don't bother the people of Philly. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like in Ferguson, they're trying to make sure they don't bother the suburbs. And I think that right now they're doing a whole thing in Camden called community policing, where they're doing a thing where the cops have to get out of their cars, have to talk to people, they have to meet people, they have to know all the residents, so that when the shit hits the fan, they know who threw it. You know, as opposed to a lot of the communities right now, when bad things happen, the cops just think they sort of just round up everybody and treat everybody like they're a criminal. So,
what was San Quentin like?
San Quentin was great, actually, which is weird. I never thought I'd say
that is the most oxymoronic statement ever. Walk me through how San Quentin was great.
I mean, it was great, and it was also heartbreaking. It was great because I was surprised by how many really cool dudes I met who lived there, the inmates there, but how they told their stories. They were all very smart and sorrowful and admitted when they did wrong, but also said they've been in there for a long time and they've worked on themselves and done rehab work. And you sort of sit and meet these guys like, you're all great. When do you get out of prison? Never. You know, and so I think we sort of get to reveal the problem that a lot of my friends talk about is America's prison industrial complex, where America we like to put people in prison, but we don't like to let people out of prison.
You know, it's fascinating because going to environments like the KKK, going to San Quentin, going to Camden, you're dealing with a lot of negativity, a lot of really bad stuff. But it's not, from what I'm gathering,
man in America, that's kind of
the reality.
Kind of you know, it's not that I'm saying it's bad to be a black guy in America, but you're just used to having to turn a soup bone into a stew. You know what I'm saying?
But no, what I'm hearing is you're humanizing I mean, that's what we forget. I mean, I grew up on welfare. I grew up poor, so I saw a lot of bad stuff growing up. But people forget, we see this in the news, but there's a human element. Did you how much of that was taken away with you when you leave a San Quentin and you see, hey, these guys may have done really bad stuff, but at the same time,
they're still humans.
They're still humans. Yeah. How much of that grew on you?
Nobody wants to be judged by the worst moment of their life. You know,
even if it's really, really bad?
Even if it's really bad. If you had one or two bad moments, nobody. I mean, what's the worst moment of your life? Tell us right now.
I mean,
see, you don't have to if you don't want.
No. I would probably say the worst moment of my life is that my grandmother raised me and she passed away when I was 20, and that was losing your support system and kind of feeling all alone in this world. But then as I'm saying it, I sound like such a loser because I'm like, there's people who have seen people wither away from cancer or shot.
Also, when I mean the worst one, I mean your worst act of behavior, the worst thing you've done in your life. That's what I mean. Like, nobody wants to be judged by the thing they've done.
Do you have 3 hours here?
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. But a lot of times we put people in prison based on you did something really bad that one time, and now you're locked away forever, which I don't think is fair.
Now I want to debate you for a second.
Sure.
So if somebody does something really bad, like murder, are they forgivable?
Yeah, it depends on the circumstances. Absolutely.
Okay.
I mean, what's the point of humanity if we can't forgive people? I mean, if you commit murder and you go to prison and you do restitution and you work on yourself and you connect with why you did that and you get an education and you get job skills and suddenly in over 20 years you turn yourself into a new person. Maybe you did it when you were 19 or 20. Now you're a 40-year-old adult and you did this thing 20 years ago. Why shouldn't you be able to get out and give it a shot again?
I like that. I would debate you for a long time, man, but
sure,
I'm going to let people see your show. So everybody, this guy's got 2 great projects coming up. One is United Shades of America on CNN, April 24th at
10 p.m.
And he's got a Showtime special, Semi-Prominent Negro.
Yes.
And just sitting here from you, if this hasn't sold you guys, go watch his stuff. The dude is hilarious. So congrats, man.